This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on accessing regional workforce resources. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. A few logistics before we get underway. If you weren't familiar with it, we are using the GoToMeeting platform. So a couple options of ways to engage with our panel today. There is an option to do the hand raise if you want to come on and chat with us, or there is an option to drop questions in the chat box, which I will drop some information in there in a minute so you can see it and know where that is. We do want you to engage with us throughout this presentation, so please use either of those if you have questions as we go along. But do note that we also have time set aside at the end for anything that gets missed or warrants further discussion. Last but not least, you heard me click the record button. So we are recording this and it will be posted to the Economic Development website after it wraps up. So now that all of that's out of the way, my name is Shelby Wood, and I have a really long title, but it's Senior Business Resource Management Analyst, and I work for the City of Westminster in the Department of Economic Development. It's hard to believe, but we have entered our second year of developing these virtual trainings and webinars to try to help support and remain connected with you and your business. We've hosted a variety of other webinars on city-specific topics, things such as homelessness, city resources, enterprise zones, and now this one on workforce resources. But we've also partnered with the North Metro Small Business Development Center to host a variety of topics more geared towards your business. So things such as like marketing and financials. All of those recordings and presentations are posted to our training library that's on our ED website. Definitely want to make sure that everybody remembers that these trainings are free and they're ongoing, so keep your eyes open for new topics in the months to come. Mike, could you go to the next slide, please? Perfect. The purpose of our webinar today is to discuss workforce resources. It is a hot topic in the business community right now. So this is an opportunity to share what's available, how to obtain qualified staff and financial resources to help offset hiring and training costs. Westminster is uniquely positioned in that it straddles both Adams and Jefferson County. So today we have partners from both of those organizations who are going to walk us through their programs and how they can help your business. From the Adams County Workforce and Business Center, we have Joel Perriott. He is the business service supervisor there. And from the Jefferson County Business and Workforce Center, we have Mike Amon, who is also the business service supervisor for his location. So for here, I'm going to turn it over to them.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. One thing I would like to say before we get into some of these services, especially the activities I'm going to talk about on this first page, there are workforce centers all over the state as part of the American Job Center. So we're going to talk about things for Adams County and Jefferson County, but if you have branches maybe in another region, another county, you could probably go to the workforce center and get the exact same services, if not the exact same, and maybe something a little similar. So I want to mention that first. So the first thing we want to talk about is job fairs and hiring events. That's one of the main services that employers come and ask for because they want to hire, they want to get their name out there as far as there's an opening. So things have changed over the last couple of years, obviously with COVID, but I think for the better because now you have more options than you've ever had. So the cost for attending or holding a hiring event is waived for the employers as if they go to the workforce center. So no cost job fairs are available at the Adams County Workforce Center or Jefferson County. And what they include is maybe you want to be a part of, I know we run like a healthcare job fair. We're all healthcare providers and you get a lot of people looking for healthcare jobs. Or we have construction or maybe it's one specific industry. But we run a lot of multi-industry job fairs, both in person in different spots. We hold them here at the Human Services Center in Adams County. Jefferson County has places for them in person. But we also have virtual job fairs, and we have a new platform that really has changed the game. It makes it very easy to not only be online and do maybe an interview or a presentation like we are now, but you can see and read resumes. You can watch a video resume of someone. You can set up appointments to do an interview in a separate room where you have a lot of control over that virtual platform to do a virtual job fair, all from your business. You're not having to pack up the tablecloth and the swag and the pens and the boxes and go to a job fair site. This virtual platform is really interactive, and we've seen a lot of success since we've taken this on over the last 2 years. So that's job fairs. And hiring events, really, if you are hiring and don't want to be part of other employers, we can set up an event just for you. You can present your business, your history, and we can get people who want your jobs specifically in either, again, an in-person or a virtual platform. So job fairs really have changed, and again, with no cost, there's really no reason to at least try. Even if you have just one job, if you have 2 jobs, it gets better, right? Because we can get as many applicants in front of you as we can. So that's the number one, I think it's the number one request we get, but people don't know about all the other services that we're going to go through. So if you have any questions about that, we can review how we can get you involved in a job fair. Usually just call them and say, I want a job fair, and we'll get you through either a request about how many jobs you have, or if you have extra chairs, or how many people want to attend, and we'll set you up. So I'll let Mike take on the next one.
All right, thanks. So the next thing to talk about is connectingcolorado.com. So I don't know if you've seen connectingcolorado.com, but this is for many businesses the first way that they begin to interact with a business and workforce center, or workforce and business center, as they call it in Adams County. So connectingcolorado.com is our statewide labor exchange. So this is a website, it's ran by the state, and it can be a really powerful tool for businesses to connect with job seekers. So first off, there are job seekers using Connecting Colorado across every industry, and it's a statewide database. So you'll be able to search for candidates in Adams or Jefferson County, but also if you work if you have locations at a state level, you'll be able to utilize it on the Western Slope or out on the Eastern Plains too. Businesses can post their positions in Connecting Colorado for free. So this can be a really great option for businesses as an alternative to many of the paid online job posting services, and a great way to connect. If this is a service that you haven't used in the past, you can either go straight to connectingcolorado.com and create your employer account and start posting jobs, or if you have questions or need assistance, you can contact your local workforce center, and we'll have a staff person assist you with creating that account and walk through how to start posting those positions. But if you're not using it, I would encourage you to start using it because it's a free resource and it is widely used by job seekers.
And I would add that it's one of those sites where once you set up your profile, you can go in and search for candidates and read resumes. So it's not like you just post your job and hope people find you. You can actually do a lot of searching and find candidates. The next one I want to talk about is customized training funding. Now we're getting the money, right? You want some help funding some of this training and maybe some of the extra costs that you go through with onboarding and finding candidates. One of the things we can do is help fund customized training. So let's say you're looking for somebody with a specific skill. Maybe it's a specific piece of equipment they need to learn how to operate. Maybe it's software or a specific soft skill that, man, they have to have this if we're going to hire them. We can partner with community colleges or other educational facilities, and they can, we've have a process. We can design a customized training for you, and then we can have that training facility. For us, it's Front Range Community College. They frequently design programs for equipment or for software that certain employers need, or maybe a group of employers, maybe an industry, and we can fund that because we know that what you need is people that have those skills, and so they're going to get it. The people that go to that training will find jobs with your company or with that industry. So we can customize the type of training. A lot of people call this micro badging, or that there's like one skill that somebody needs, not necessarily an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, but maybe a specific skill. We can partner with community colleges and, like I said, sometimes other educational facilities that can design curriculum that will help you meet your needs for skills that you need for a specific occupation. And the workforce center can come in and fund that, maybe help them with books, tuition, maybe it's some other things like transportation or to get to that training, because the training actually happens, let's say in Greeley or somewhere else. We might be able to fund for them to for transportation for you to go to that training, or for that candidate to go to that training. So that's one way we can fund candidates, or to help candidates be funded to get the skills so you can find those skilled people. And we're gonna have lots of other things that we're gonna be able to fund, so we'll jump into those. I think I'm doing the next one, right, Mike?
Yep.
So that's customized training. Boy, the world has changed. On-the-job training and internships is really the new way to go, because we can set up a situation where you know someone needs the skills and you want to train them, but there's some costs involved with that. Let us help. On-the-job training is a situation where we can pay 50% of the hourly wage for someone you're taking on, so that you can hire them, or not hire them, it's skill them up with the skills that you need with your company. So we'll work with you, and let's say you have a position that's a hard to fill position. You just can't find the people that have the exact qualifications, or people that have some of the qualifications but not all the experience. So you're going to be doing additional training with those people. We'll set up a contract with you that says if you agree to do the extra training, we'll fund 50% of that wage for a certain amount of time, up to a cap. Sometimes I've seen anywhere between $3,000 and $10,000 that we can reimburse you for the training that you're doing for those new people. So that's a great service to take advantage of, because basically it's not try it before you buy it, because you're making a commitment to hire these people. But boy, it's like a half-price employee for the first 3 months when you know you're going to have to put more into that person. Another way that we can help you find candidates in alternative ways is internships. And internships are not always just college credit or a credit situation or only for youth. We could do adult internships or youth internships where you're not necessarily committing to hire them, but if you can set up an internship program where you're training somebody to learn more about that occupation, your industry, this software, this equipment, and all you're doing is committing to train them, we will fund 100% of their wages during that training period. Then after you've seen them, you can make a decision whether or not you want to hire them after that training period. So it's a shorter term, maybe 3-4 month internship period where, like I said, you're not committing to hire, you're only committing to train. We're paying their wages because what we want is for more people to be trained and have additional skills so that they can help out your industry or other employers, right? It's kind of like the rising tide lifts all boats. Internships are a great way to do that. Or maybe you just need some extra bodies in the office, but you can't commit to do that for a long term. Internships are the way to go. We pay the salary, you train them, you have the body, and like I said, you may not have made a choice to hire them at the very beginning, but at the end of that 3 or 4 months, you might say, you know what, now that we've seen them work, we know they have the skills, we know their soft skills, that's someone I want to hire. So OJTs and internships are just a great way to lower the cost of onboarding new candidates.
All right. So the next one we're going to talk a little bit about is incumbent worker training. So incumbent worker training, and I'll talk about a Jeffco specific program a little later on, but generally what incumbent worker training is a really powerful tool for businesses to tap into funding to get additional training for your current staff. So what that could look like is it's short-term training, and it's typically used for 2 reasons. One reason would be to avert a potential layoff. So say you're a company that has one business that's looking at layoffs, but other business units that are growing. Incumbent worker training, that grant support could be used to provide training to those staff who might be laid off, help them get those skills they need to move into one of your other business units that is growing and help them grow with that company. So that's one opportunity with incumbent worker training. The other opportunity with incumbent worker training is to basically look at training that will both advance the career of one of your employees and support the growth of your business. And there's a ton of different opportunities with that. You know, it could be somebody who's moved into maybe they're moving into a supervisory position because they were great in their position, but they don't have supervisory experience. Maybe there's an opportunity to look at training for leadership training for those new first line supervisors. Or it could be technical skills training in manufacturing or IT. There's a ton of flexibility with incumbent worker training. What I would encourage you to do if you're interested in that is contact your local workforce center and talk to them about what some of your training needs are for your existing employees, and then work with them to identify what that training looks like, what the cost is, and to see if you can get grant support to help offset some of that training cost. Because that is a program that is it's being utilized now by more and more county workforce centers across the state, and it can be a really powerful tool for businesses to upskill their current employees. And I'll talk a little bit more about a Jeffco specific program that we have here later on. So next I want to talk about apprenticeships. So apprenticeships are an increasing focus for business and workforce centers, and I think the business community as a whole. Apprenticeships are that classic work-based learning model where you earn while you learn. You know, and where we saw this most traditionally is in the skilled trades. The skilled trades have a robust apprenticeship model that's been around for 100 years. And what we're seeing now is more and more businesses in other industries developing their own apprenticeship programs, basically building their own training pipelines to help get people into their industry. So we're seeing apprenticeships now in IT and manufacturing and healthcare. And so it's an exciting time to be considering it. What I would say is if you're a business that is hiring multiple people in every year, maybe not one, but if you're hiring 3, 4, 5 people into a position every year, an apprenticeship program can be a great opportunity to look at developing a skilled, a really structured training program for new employees to bring them in, get them the training they need internally, maybe potentially partner with an education provider to provide the classroom skills that they might need as part of the program, and get them trained up to where you need them to be. With apprenticeships, the workforce centers can support you with basically 2 sides of the apprenticeship process. So first off, it's developing apprenticeships. So if you're at that point where you're considering setting up an apprenticeship, maybe you're not finding enough people applying for your positions who are coming in with the skill set you need, so you're looking at doing more of that training internally. That is a good point to consider an apprenticeship and reach out to your local workforce center. The local workforce center can work with you to get that idea going and connect you to one of our statewide apprenticeship consultants. That's a free service to businesses where they will basically work with you as a partner to help you develop that apprenticeship and get it registered so that you can start get that program operating as quickly as possible. And then, so we can help you with the apprenticeship development side, but then also if you have an apprenticeship or you've developed an apprenticeship, we will help with the recruiting side and identifying sources of grant funding as well to support apprentices. So very frequently, workforce centers will partner with apprenticeship programs to host recruitment events. So maybe an info session for an apprenticeship program to get people who are interested in that career there in front of you, where you can talk to them, sell them on your program and why it's great. And then you can then work through with those people, work through the interview process and have a pipeline for your apprenticeship program. And working with a workforce center through that process as well, you can identify whether or not there's going to be options for grant support for your apprenticeship, because realistically, it is expensive training new employees. And so there are a lot of grant opportunities that can help offset some of that training cost and basically just take some of that burden off training new employees and getting them into your apprenticeship program. So those are the 2 ways that workforce centers typically work with businesses around apprenticeships. It's on that initial kind of formulation of an idea of what an apprenticeship could be and getting that process started for registering your apprenticeship. And then the second side is on the recruiting and retention. And I'd say another thing with apprenticeship programs is once you have that apprenticeship program created and registered, it's going to appear on our statewide database of apprenticeships. And that's a really powerful place to be, I think. There's a lot of people now looking for apprenticeship opportunities versus non-apprenticeship entry-level positions. And we have a statewide database where any job seeker can go and it's searchable for different apprenticeship opportunities. So that can be a really great place for a business to be if you're looking at building that kind of a talent pipeline. Right. Turn it over to you, Joel, for wage and labor market data.
And if you have any kind of training program already built, you might as well build it into an apprenticeship program with the Department of Labor, because so many grants are using that. So with wage data, or data in general, we say wage and labor market data, but you'd be surprised just how much data is out there that'll help you make a decision on hiring. How much should I pay? Where should I look for labor? What's going on as trends in my area or in the industry? And if you want data reports, a lot of times you can go online and find places that are going to charge you. And there is cost to a lot of these more detailed data reports that are out there. The Workforce Center can provide no-cost labor reports on wage, competitive wage, trends, or maybe a specific data report that you need. You want to know how many people are in this occupation, in this zip code for the last 5 years, last 10 years, or what are the trends? We can go to a statewide group that we call the WIDE group. They're the Workforce Intelligence Data Experts. We call them WIDE. And they create reports really on the fly. They can customize reports based on what the employer needs. And they do have some stock reports that they know people are always asking for. What is the competitive wage in my area for this occupation? Competitive wage analysis is really important if you're changing, if you're growing, and you want to know, can I afford 10 new people in that occupation? Well, what are people going to ask? How much money are they going to ask for, or how much money were they making before? So wage analysis, competitive wage analysis, or labor market trends can be a big help as far as helping you make decisions. Now, every workforce region can probably provide some kind of labor report for you, but like I'm saying, this statewide group really is advantage if you can hook up with any of the workforce centers and say, I need this specific type of, maybe it's unemployment data, maybe it's transportation data, maybe it's, I don't know, whatever's out there that maybe I'm not even bringing up, right? You know what you need, ask. And they have all kinds of different data sources that they're using to create these workforce intelligence, labor, or wage data reports. So don't be afraid to ask, because to no cost for you, you can have a report that for your strategic planning could be exactly what you need to make a decision.
Great. The last thing on this slide that we're going to talk about is sector partnerships. So sector partnerships can be a really great way for businesses to plug in and start to move the needle on issues that are facing their industry. So sector partnerships are industry-led initiatives, and they focus on industry issues basically that are identified by business leaders. So examples of sector partnerships here in the Denver metro area include there's a manufacturing, IT, healthcare, transportation, aerospace. There's a lot of different sector partnership opportunities. And the reason you might want to connect with one of these sector partnerships, so as a business, if you're seeing an issue in your industry, it could be around recruiting, it could be around retention, it could be around something else, because every industry is different. But it's something that you think that it's something that needs to be solved on a larger scale than you can do individually as one business. That's where you want to plug into a sector partnership. So if it's a recruiting issue where there is a perpetual shortage of talent in your industry, and it's an issue because maybe there's not enough people being trained in that industry, sector partnership is a great place to plug in. So you could have businesses getting together to work on a specific issue, and if it could be something like training. So maybe there's not enough people being trained in a certain field. The sector partnership could theoretically work with a community, something like that, to increase the size of that pipeline. So to create long-term solutions, but solutions driven by industry. So that's one of the unique things about a sector partnership. It is industry-led and public partner support. So supporting these sector partnerships, you'll see workforce staff, you'll see staff from K through 12 schools, you'll see community college folks, university folks, economic development, chambers, but they're there to support. So we're, as public partners, we're there really to wait and see what does the industry members of the sector partnership, what do they identify as an issue, what do they think would be the solution, and then we can then spring into action and work to make those things happen. So it's a unique and powerful model for solving solutions, but solving them from the perspective of the business, rather than starting with government and public partners solving the problem for business. So if you're interested in participating in something like that, the sector partnerships, some of them meet quarterly, some of them meet monthly, and some of them have basically like committees that work on specific issues. So that stuff all varies by industry, but if you're interested in that type of opportunity, contact your local workforce center or your local economic development professional from a city or county, and they'll be able to connect you with the sector partnership that is most aligned with your industry. All right, I think we're going to go to the next slide now.
Does anybody have any questions about these core workforce services that are available for employers at any workforce center? We're going to go to each one specific. Any questions?
I have a question. Are these available for any size business or just small business or what?
That's a great question. All these services are available to any size business, and sometimes there'll be a grant that comes down the pipe that says if it's a small business, there's actually some more money, or maybe the funding can last longer because we want to keep small businesses alive. In Adams County, we've done some research to find out 80% of the employers in Adams County are 20 employers or less, or employees or less. So we've made a commitment to help out small business with additional funding, additional supports. But everything you've seen here, even an OJT, even an intern, could be a mom and pop. It could be, 3 people employer, and you need an intern just because you need help and you're willing to train somebody up with customer service skills or whatever. These are all available for any size employer.
Thank you.
You bet.
The one thing I would add to that too is this is available not just to businesses, but also nonprofits, for example, as well, can utilize these services.
And like, as my motion. And like I was saying earlier about how Adams County and Jefferson County, we work pretty close together because we are geographically close. But there's a lot of times we have a lot in common with, let's say, like a Lowe's or a company with many branches. So don't think just because, well, I'm not in Adams County, I only have a branch there. We can help you out even if it's cross regions. The boundary lines don't mean much other than we're here to serve the people locally and the employers locally. Okay.
All right. Well, if you have any other questions, we'll take them at the end as well if you think of anything.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about Adams County specifically, some things that we do, maybe just a little different of the programs that we've put some focus on. So I know Mike's going to talk about the Tech P program. This is a program for employers with tech jobs that maybe be losing some of those people to overseas positions or have to replace them from overseas people. We have a Tech P program where we can fund tech positions, and the way we address that is we have some workshops for employers. We can teach them exactly what they're looking, what we can do. There's funding for training. If we need people with certain software development, we can fund specifically tech jobs for Tech P through this program and through this grant. We also have Tech P workshops for job seekers. So if you want to know what is out there, this helps employers, especially if they can come to, we want them to come to our workshops so they can say, yes, I'm hiring software developers, but also maybe security or cloud data positions. And you can kind of promote what you're looking for in the tech sector, and we can fund that through this Tech P program. So that is something that we're focusing on. It is not separate, but we have a team separately that works on that, funding that grant and helping employers and doing some outreach for that. I'm going to talk about the veterans program, but we actually, Jefferson County and Adams County, share a veterans representative. And what that is a person who helps veterans specifically and employers who are looking to hire vets. So in Adams County, we have a program called Vets First 30 that for every job fair we have or event or resource fair, veterans get first access. They're the first 30 minutes of every job fair. They get the first 30 minutes to talk to employers, to talk about their resume or whatever. So we do make them a priority. They're a priority when they come to the Workforce Center. If there is a line or if it is busy, if there's no computers available, we will make that veteran a priority so they get access to our services, even when it doesn't look like there's access available. And that veteran also can run veterans workshops, federal hiring workshops. They can run job fairs for people looking for veterans because maybe veterans have a specific type of skills that they're looking for. And again, we have a representative that works at both Jefferson County and Adams, so there's a lot of cross-regional opportunity there as far as maybe services that you're looking for. They do help. We have a partner program that can help them maybe access benefits that they were allowed to get or should be getting through the fact that they were a veteran, and we can give them access to that as well if they have a lot of questions. Also in Adams County, we have a specific program. We call it a subsidized employment employer bank. And this is a bank of employers that specifically are looking to hire, but we've talked to them about our internship program, and our internship program is linked specifically to our TANF participants. If you're familiar with that program, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, they're already receiving government assistance, and we're trying to get them back to work. And we want people or employers in this employer bank to have availability of interns for not necessarily the purpose of hiring, that happens, and we're happy when that does happen, but just to have an intern learn what it's like to, I'm going to work. Maybe I haven't been working for a long time. So a lot of them are unemployed for the last 27 weeks or so, or they just don't have a lot of skills, or they're changing careers. So there's a lot of barriers for these people. So they need a specific internship program. So this is a subsidized employment program that we have with TANF that we can work out the exact occupation skills that you're looking for, and we will pay 100% of their salary. All again, like I was saying earlier about internships, you just agree to train. And what's good about this program is if we evaluate that internship, at the end of it, we can decide if they have learned stuff, they have learned what they need to learn, and there's more for them to learn, we can extend that internship through the TANF program. So it's a good partnership. And to be in that employer bank, you're constantly getting referrals from us for certain positions, especially entry-level positions that people are looking for. And I want to talk a little bit about our transportation sector partnership. I know Mike talked about that a minute ago, but it is a big focus in us for Adams County, but it also probably give you a good idea of how a sector partnership can work for you. They came to us and say, we need some help, the transportation sector. So we developed our transportation sector partnership as a group of employers in the industry. They kind of told us what they needed. They needed a platform for resources, jobs, and associations to share information. So as a sector partnership, we can fund and help them do that collectively. So not one of those employers have to take on that burden all on their own. They also talked about how they don't have a lot of awareness to youth about how much money you can make as a truck driver, how much money you can make in the transportation industry. So we help them develop an awareness program, and with our connections through our youth program, we can connect them to the schools. We can go there, talk to the parents, or to the students and the schools themselves about what's available in the transportation sector. What is the career pathway? How much money can you make initially? How much money can you make 5, 10 years down the line? And that all happens because of the sector partnership, collective ideas, and collective work. And so that's just one way a sector partnership can work. We do have a kind of unique partnership with our economic development here at the county. Adams County itself has a group actually housed within the Human Services Center, and they have the ability to give a tax incentive to an employer if they agree to do certain things, like either hire within Adams County, hire within certain zip codes that we're trying to get people hired. If they're making capital investments, they might be able to do a tax incentive for site selection for employers that are coming in, or for small businesses that are looking to grow and they're taking a big risk. And as long as they're hiring from within or follow some guidelines, economic development can help with that. And we partner with that by always being able to supply them with either candidates or with the opportunity to do maybe a specific connection or resource for that employer who's seeking that tax incentive. The last one I think that we have that's fairly unique is the assessment tool that, if anybody is familiar with Connexa or Prove It, about 10, 12 years ago, that was an assessment tool that employers could use to assess the knowledge or skills or ability that maybe a candidate has, and employers had to pay for that. Well, we've purchased what is now the 3rd or 4th generation of Connexa, and it's called Aspiring Minds. And Aspiring Minds is an online tool. We set it up where the candidate that you're looking to hire can come to the Workforce Center. We have a list of assessments that the employer can choose from, and then we will actually administer that test on site to that candidate and then send the employer the results at no cost to the employer. And it's not just soft skills or generic testing. One partnership that I can explain is that we have a partnership with the plumbers union. They come to us and we can assess their knowledge about skills with electronics and plumbing specifically through 3 20-minute tests and assessments. That gives them an outlook or an output of information that the union and those employers can say, okay, they know they scored high in this area of plumbing, they scored low on this area. I know what I need to train on, or I know if that's a good candidate for us to hire. So Aspiring Minds is a really good assessment tool, and there is over 5,000 assessments that can be administered. Some of them are very computer driven, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, things like that. But there are knowledge-based assessments about your industry or certain career paths that you want to know if they know that, and you want to assess that before you agree to interview them. We can help with that. And again, even though we've paid to have this available, we've agreed to have this at no cost to employers. So these are some of the programs that we have, in addition to all the work-based learning, that earn while you learn that Mike was talking about earlier, OJTs, internships, apprenticeships that we offer to employers. That's part of the package model of services that we make available to Adams County employers, or maybe just employers that are close by but would rather work with us, maybe rather than travel to. Let me give you an example, like Fort Lupton employers. The Workforce Center in Weld County is in Greeley, but we're pretty close in Brighton, so sometimes they'd rather work with us. We partner with Weld County to deliver some of these services to them. Any questions about what we offer or what we have available? Again, we can answer questions at the end as well. Okay, thanks.
All right, so I just want to talk a little bit about some of the unique programs that we have going on in Jefferson County. So a lot of the things that obviously Jefferson and Adams County offer from the perspective of workforce is very similar, but we do each have our own unique focus areas. And the first one I want to talk about is our Employer Talent Development Program. So this is what I referred to earlier as Incumbent Worker Training. In Jefferson County, this is called Employer Talent Development Program, or ETDP. So applications are now open. They opened on Thursday of last week, and they'll be open through the month of July. So this is a really powerful opportunity if you're a business in Jefferson, Clear Creek, or Gilpin County to apply for training dollars, basically. So this is an opportunity to apply to get grant funding to support training for your current staff to help them upskill. So that could be either staff who you're looking to avert a layoff with and help them move into a different part of your company through additional training, or it could be for staff where a training would help them personally in their career, and also it would help make your company more competitive. So if it meets both those criteria, it's very likely to be a good fit for the Employer Talent Development Program. So the way this program works is a business applies over the course of the month of July. The application is on the JEFCA website, and I've included it on the slide. So this will link to the JEFCA website where you can apply. In August, we'll announce the businesses whose applications have been accepted and approved. And then you'll be able to basically schedule training for your staff. And that can be external training. It's not training from Jefferson County. It's wherever you want that training to come from, because you're going to know best the training you need, and then also where you can get that training best in your industry. And so you'll be able to do that training. And then once that training is over, you'll have 30 days to submit basically an invoice back to Jefferson County, and then Jefferson County will reimburse you for the cost of that training, up to 1%. So for small businesses, the reimbursement rate is 90% on the cost of that training, and then the business puts forth 10%, for example. And then that percentage scales down as companies get larger. So it starts at 90%, and then it'll scale down as for the larger businesses. But that application is open right now. I will say, if you have any questions or want more information, please reach out. So we have staff available on Tuesdays and Thursdays with what we call virtual office hours. And so those staff are dedicated to talking about ETDP with businesses. So that's Tuesday afternoons and Thursday mornings. We have staff available. So just reach out, shoot me an email, and we'll schedule a time to talk to you about that. And if another time would work better, we can be flexible too and meet on a Monday or Wednesday or Friday. But Tuesdays and Thursdays in particular, we have staff available to talk through how the process works. And then also we can talk through the training if you're having trouble identifying the training or anything with the application. That's what we're here for. So that's the Employer Talent Development Program. Next, I wanted to talk TechP. So I know Joel talked about TechP overall. I want to talk about a specific initiative we have. So we're doing this right now. We're partnering with 2 different colleges. So we're partnering with Regis University and also Red Rocks Community College to support groups of people who are looking to move into the IT field. So with Regis and with Red Rocks, we are supporting people with our TechP grant who are looking to get in IT in both computer support and software development. So if you're a company who is going to be hiring in either of those areas, this is a great way to tap into the TechP talent pipeline and get connected to people who are going to be coming out with degrees in those fields. Both of those programs are looking for businesses to partner with them to provide work-based learning opportunities for their students. So the first one that's coming up is Red Rocks Community College is got a class of students who've gone through for both computer support and software development. They've gone through and they've done all their classes, and now the final piece of their education is an internship with a business in the field. So if you have opportunities in those 2 areas and would like a qualified intern, please reach out. We'd love to connect you. Obviously, you get the opportunity to interview them and select them yourself, but that can be a great way. The first one will be Red Rocks Community College with internships starting at the beginning of September. And then after that, we'll have the opportunity starting from the Regis program through, and this will be, these internships will be funded using the TechP grant, so you won't be responsible for paying wages or workman's comp to those interns. And then finally, I want to talk about our P4 internship program. So this is a program we are launching right now. So the way this works is this is our main internship program. And this internship program is for businesses that are interested in hosting interns, but specifically hosting cohorts of interns. So typically at least 2 interns at a time. So we typically see 2 to 4, up to 5. We rarely see more than that, but 2 to 5 interns at a time. And the internships themselves are project-based internships, and they're mentorship focused. And what that means is project-based internships. So the internship is like you would expect an internship, but with that project focus. So what we do is we work with the business on the front end to identify projects that they maybe have on the back burner that that intern can be specifically responsible for. And so that's great because when you have a staff member who is supervising an intern, sometimes they're busy and they don't have time to direct an intern specifically. That intern can go work on that project, and it takes some of that pressure off your staff to manage them on a kind of minute by minute level. And it also gives interns a really great thing for their resume at the end of it, and it builds that sort of sense of investment in your company during their internship. These are also mentorship focused internships, and part of that is we offer a training for employers. So say you've never hosted an intern before, or you have staff who are going to manage interns who've never hosted an intern before. We do a virtual training for your staff on best practices around managing interns, how to mentor interns, how to keep them going on their projects, and everything like that. So we try to provide that kind of wraparound support, particularly for businesses and people who have not had interns in the past, or who have had interns that have not worked out very well. And I will say this is for both youth and adults. So we have opportunities for youth and then also professional internships for adults. And that's typically for people who are transitioning from one career to another. So maybe you have somebody who recently maybe got laid off and now they went to get a certification and now they want to do an internship to apply that directly in the field in their new industry. That's a great opportunity for a professional internship. So if you think you have opportunities for either youth internships or professional internships for adults, please reach out and we'd love to talk to you about the P4 internship program. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, you're also welcome to ask me questions at the end or not ask me questions.
Anything. So can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. All right, so you guys have heard a ton of great information. So how does the city fit in? You will notice that we aren't set up to administer all of these wonderful resources, such as these at the local level, like Joel and Mike do. So my job is to help connect our Westminster businesses, regardless of which county you fall in, to those resources that are available through all of the channels. I want you guys to note on here that I've got the page listed to our ED website, that this page is specific to workforce resources. We have developed kind of a handy matrix that is saved as a PDF at the top of that page that gives kind of a quick snapshot of where you can go to find some of those specific programs or resources. And the PDF is nice because if you want to learn more, you can click right on the name link and it takes you right to that website. So as an example, say how Joel mentioned, you're looking to connect with hiring more veterans. You could go to the veterans section of the matrix and scroll down, and there are several sites kind of noted there that could help you link you in this capacity. I definitely want to make a caveat that it's not meant to be all inclusive, and it is subject to change as different programs and companies change their resources and items that they have available. But it's a great high-level place to kind of get started in your research for some of those. I am also working on putting together a working document that lists all of the state, local, partner grant programs, upcoming career fairs, and engagement opportunities with our local schools. This page is growing and evolving every day, so feel free to check it out to try to stay up to date with these. Can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. We also support our local businesses with a variety of grant programs. Our core ones are listed here on this slide. But new this year is our pilot program. It's highlighted below in the bottom. It's called the Job Training Incentive Grant. So this program, similar to programs that both Joel and Mike offer, will help reimburse 3 types of training costs to help offset some of the expenses associated with bringing on and onboarding new staff. Can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. These grants are capped at $5,000, but we are offering an extra 25% or $1,250 if you hire someone from a Westminster institution. So we're really looking to encourage developing and bringing up that local workforce. So that means a graduate from maybe a Westminster High School, Westminster Trade School, graduate from Front Range Community College, and so on. Our grant is industry specific. The qualifying industries are listed here on the screen if you want to take a look through those. But similar to, again, Joel and Mike, if you're wondering about, well, how about my current staff and upskilling them? If you get a chance to look at the PowerPoint after, if you went back to the screen, we do have a small business scholarship grant, which is able to help cover these types of costs. That grant will currently cover 50% up to $500. Right now, we are evaluating this program for 2023 and looking to possibly enhancing it. So keep an eye out on possible changes for there to come. Go to the next slide, please. Thank you. That's all I have on my end. The contact information for all three of us is listed here. So as the guys emphasize, please feel free to reach out. I understand that at some point after you get off the webinar, you may be like, gosh, I've got this great question. We're here to help serve you. So definitely make sure to save this information. A reminder, it will be posted to our website, so you can access it at any point. But for now, I definitely just want to leave the last 13 minutes. If anybody does have questions, open it up for our panel. And see if there's anything they can help you with while we're all here connected today.
Are we offering a prize if they can stump Joel with a question?
I'm willing to negotiate a prize.
Specialize in comic book trivia.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to comment that this was some great information, so thank you for sharing this.
You're so welcome. Glad you were able to attend.
One thing I'd like to add, just as far as if you're looking for what questions to ask, one of the best services that we offer is just a visit. When we come and say, what's going on, what keeps you up at night, what are your needs, I like to think that with the Workforce Center, any Workforce Center that has employer services, what the best thing we offer is a connection to what you're looking for. I like to think that we do have funding and services that you are looking for, but at the very least, I know who else might have what you're looking for. So let us sit down, we call a business information visit, and just ask, what keeps you up, what are your needs, what are your barriers, and then we can either help you or get you connected to someone who can. At no cost to you.
All right. Anything else? Otherwise, we can give the 12 minutes of the webinar back to you in your day. Again, the contact information is here, so know that you can reach out to us anytime. I want to go ahead and wrap us up and give a huge thank you to our county partners for joining us today. We appreciate your time and all the wealth of information that you have to share with our businesses, so thank you so much. And thank you, folks, for joining us. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day.